All right, good. Listen, I've got three goals for
Okay.
this thing. One is to give a little publicity to the community band and the group you're the executive director for. The second is to further what I hope is going to become a movement about encouraging networks to show marching bands
Television.
on at least college broadcasts.
Yeah,
And then the third thing always is to get some new subscribers, which is pretty good because subscription is free.
that's true.
So and it's like I tell people, it's free, but it's worth every penny. So well, listen, I know you've been in band for most of your life, and tell me about your band experience. When you first started.
Well, I started in seventh grade in Montgomery, Alabama, at Capitol Heights Junior High School with George Prince. He was our director, and we found out later that he had retired from the Boston Symphony as a trumpet player. So I didn't know that at the time. Didn't learn that till several years later. So that made us respect him even more. But he was a taskmaster. He was the feeder program for Lee High School in Montgomery,
Yeah.
and which is what Johnny Long had started that program in 1955. And so when I finished junior high school, I went to Lee and started band under Tom Borden, and just fell in love with it. Decided that I wanted to be a band director around my senior year.
Why did you pick trumpet, or did trumpet pick you?
I picked trumpet because our family knew a gospel group called the Thrasher Brothers Quartet, and we were personal friends with them, and they had all of them played trumpet, and they had played it in a concert one time, and I just so that's the instrument for me. So I just decided to pick trumpet from that.
That's pretty good. That's a
Yeah,
pretty similar story to most musicians, I think. You just sort of fall into the instrument that you end up with, and then it becomes almost an obsession.
yeah,
I've talked with several of my high school friends, and we decided that we were in effect in a cult. Only the cult was band program.
that's right.
Yeah. How did you end up at Troy?
Well, I had looked at Alabama and I'd looked at Auburn. I had talked with some people from both schools, and then my father had called Troy to find out information about the program there. And he got on the phone with Dr. Long, and he said, have him come down and like to talk with him. And so they offered me a scholarship. And it wasn't much of a scholarship, but every little bit helps, And of course, they added to it as years went along. But I had made the Alabama All-State Band in 1974, and I guess that helped to it as well with the interest in Alabama and Auburn and Troy. So I basically followed Troy because I knew Dr. Long's reputation and experience.
Yeah, didn't everybody?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, listen, do you mind telling me how much your initial scholarship was?
$200.
Really? Now, see, in 1970, mine was 50. And and that made it possible for me to go to college,
That's
believe it
right.
or not.
That
That
was a lot of money.
$50 a semester was just about one-fifth of tuition cost.
Exactly.
And my dad figured that he could afford $250 if they gave up food with the family for a week. So so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that was
Now,
a lot of money back then.
as an alumni of Troy, have you stayed active in the reunion process and all
Yeah,
that?
when I can, I participated in the alumni band when I can, and go back for those events, and that's always a big event. Haven't been able to do it in the last couple of years because of health reasons or whatever, but I stay in touch with it, follow them on Facebook, and talk with them. You know, communicate with them through all the various social medias, and whenever we can.
I remember the Troy band being traditionally active at marching festivals and marching contests, not as a participant, but as either a host or as the guest band to provide
Yeah.
exhibitions.
Yeah, they
That
would do
seemed
exhibitions.
that seemed to be a pretty good recruiting tool for Troy.
I think it was. We did probably, I would say, 3 exhibitions per year, and they were all at major events. They may have been in the Panhandle of Florida. They would be in Alabama, a couple in Georgia, and it was always amazing that that was where the majority of his students would come from the Panhandle of Florida, South Georgia, and middle part of Alabama. So right where we did the exhibitions.
Now, if I remember correctly, Troy also had their own FM music station,
Yes, we did.
and Dr. Long hosted weekly a show on that station featuring symphonic music.
He did a symphonic music on a regular basis, and he did a guest appearance there. One of my best friends, Paul McNeely, who's now the announcer for the Sound of the South, was the host of that. And I visited there several times at the radio station and was a guest there sometimes. But they would always do symphonic music, and it was a pleasure to listen to because it was very educational. And
Now, I
enjoyed
wasn't
it.
aware, but just out of curiosity, did they do marching shows also?
I think they did, but I think the favorite was the symphonic music, the classical
Yeah,
form.
I would tune in just to hear music that I would love for a band to play sometime,
Yeah.
just to get ideas.
Yeah,
It was,
dream it. I wish I could have a band that could play that someday.
yeah, really. Yeah. Well, listen, Troy spent many, many hours doing halftime shows on television,
Mhm.
and it didn't seem to be an issue for the Troy band to uh, to have TV exposure. I think part of that was because of Dr. Long, and the other part was, at the time, um, band exposure on television was just commonplace.
Yeah, a lot more common back then than it is now. It's as rare as hen's teeth now, I guess you could say. But Dr. Long had a network of I think he was able to find all the right buttons to push to get people's interest in the people with the television networks or the people that knew people with the television networks to make some things happen. The band could get exposure.
Yeah, he was not an easy guy to say no to.
No, you did not want to say no.
Well, listen, you also took a group from Muskogee County to a national parade and got a good bit of TV exposure for the music programs in Muskogee County as a result of that.
We did. We did 2 parades. One at the Tournament of Roses parade in 1992, and got a lot of exposure from that. A lot of fundraising went into that, and of course, you get exposure from the fundraising. I think we raised something like almost $100,000 in cash, and then in kind donated services were well over 250,000 total. But we also did, we combined with the Jordan High School Band and the LaGrange High School Band with Kendrick High School and did the presidential inaugural parade in 1997 and got a lot of exposure from that. We called them the Muskogee Troopers, Muskogee County and Troup County.
Yeah, a couple of guys that I know participated in that. They said it was a great experience, not just
It
for
was,
them, but for every other band member involved.
I had a lot, still getting a lot of feedback. I have some of the students that were in that group say, one parent came to me when we were in Washington. He came to me and put it and gave me a hug and tears in his eyes. And he said, "Thank you. I have never been to the White House before, and thank you for the experience that my children have from getting this." A lot of those kids had never been outside of Columbus,
Yeah.
and for them to, we toured the White House, we toured some of the historical places and artifacts and facilities in Washington, just made it very educational, tried to as much as we could. Every trip that I always took like that, I wanted to tie in something educational with it. Not just a performance, but a performance with something that they could see and that they could visit and they could learn from and they
Well,
could experience
it
from.
also made it easy to justify to administrators.
Exactly. Exactly.
I used to laugh, with that small town in Alabama. We took a few trips And after every trip, there would be a kid come up to me and say that that was the first time he'd ever eaten at a restaurant that he had never heard of. It wasn't McDonald's or Burger King. So
I remember vividly. We had left Atlanta. We had our last rehearsal on like I said, Monday evening, and it was like 70 degrees in Atlanta. And we traveled all night, and we stopped at Fredericksburg, Virginia, the next
right.
morning to have breakfast. It was 2 degrees. I was the first one off the bus. I was the first one back on the bus immediately within like 3 seconds to put on more clothing. That was the
Yeah.
coldest I'd ever been in my life.
How many kids participated in that trip?
308 or 309, somewhere around in there.
And how many chaperones?
Oh, 15 or 16 chaperones.
Yeah, see,
Several, 4 administrators.
that's a pretty small number when you
Yeah,
consider the number of kids.
yeah.
But I'm guessing you probably had zero discipline issues.
No issues whatsoever. We had parental chaperones, we had faculty chaperones, and then we had administrators that all went. So it was a mixture of those three, and no problems whatsoever. Of course, those kids were threatened within an inch of their life,
Sure.
and you had all that straightened out before you even got on the bus, and they knew better than to. And of course, they're wonderful kids anyway. They would never do anything like that. Uh, and so it's just a great trip for everybody. Both trips, the Rose Bowl and the inaugural parade.
Good, good, good. Now, you're still deeply involved in the music business here in Columbus as the director of the Bob Barr Community Band.
Mhm.
And what's the biggest difference in working with adults as opposed to working with students?
I'm reminded something that Hal Gibson, Lieutenant Colonel Hal Gibson, once told me, the director at Columbus State at that time. I said, "What's the difference between teaching high school and college?" He said, the college students are a little taller.
That's about right.
The biggest difference is, Bob Barr is a mixture of professionals. There may be school principals, superintendents, doctors, lawyers, plumbers, police officers, beauticians, nurses. It's a gamut of community leaders throughout the area, and people drive in from they've driven in as far as Macon to come in and to practice with us, and it's not a gamut of. In high school, it was more of a directive approach. I'm the director. This is what we're going to have to do. But here, it's more of a collaborative approach. I look at it like that. It's like driving a wagon train. I'm holding onto the reins and sort of guiding us where we go, but the horse is doing all the work, and they're the horse.
Yeah.
And it's we're all bought into this together. Each of us have a passion for music, and we just love to go and perform, and that's what we're all about. We're that special gang. We're that club that you were talking about earlier. That we all have a passion for music, and we just come together and make it happen.
How many members do you have?
We have 55.
That's not a bad number. And
Not bad
most
at
of
all.
them are pretty regular in their attendance,
Yeah.
aren't they?
We had a rehearsal last night, and it's the first time that we had practiced since Christmas. We had a performance in the middle part of December, a Christmas performance, and we had taken some time off. We were going to meet last week, but we had bad weather. And this was the first time in over a month that we've met, and we've just picked right back up where we left off.
When is your next concert?
We're planning concerts right now. We're looking at 3 concerts for this semester term, I call it. We're going to do a concert in February, around the middle of February. We're looking for a major concert in March in celebration with the National High School Band Directors Hall of Fame induction. And then we want to do something in May to close out the school year. And then we'll look at the summer program from there.
Yeah, I would imagine that summer vacations get in the way of a lot of attendance there.
Believe it or not, they were more active in the summer. We did a 4th of July concert at the Naval War Museum, and
Yeah.
we just had a lot of people just come in, and say, that really that was sort of a catalyst for bringing in new members, and so we want to get active and think that they just flourished to things like that. So I was surprised, a major holiday on July the 4th, and but they were very active, very passionate about it.
That's great. Do you have a specific instrumental need?
Everything.
Yeah.
I have an abundance of tuba and I have an abundance of flute, but I never turn down any instrument. I can always use brass and I
Yeah.
can always use clarinets. I don't know why, but it's of course, instrumentation is open for anybody. We had a gentleman visiting last night. He said, I haven't played since 1978. I just want to listen. I said, what did you play? He said, I played bassoon. I said, well, we have a bassoon in the back. Come on and join in. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't do it. I said, listen, my wife hadn't played since 1974, but she picked up her clarinet and jumped in. And for the first couple of rehearsals, she was as lost as she could be. But now she feels right at home. And so there's no, you just participate by participating.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're all in this together. And there's no critics. We're all here together. We all have the same needs. We all have the same passion.
That's great. It's interesting you said that you had a lot of tubas. Usually when I was doing beginner band, it would be the tubas that would move out and the flute players that would move in.
Yeah. I have 7 tubas.
Man, that's sort of a mixed blessing, isn't it?
It's a blessing. Yes, it is.
Well, listen, I know you also serve as the executive director of the High School Band Directors Hall of Fame based here in Columbus. Tell us about your work with that group.
Well, it started out as the Hall of Fame. A couple of gentlemen in Daytona Beach, Florida, started it in 1984, wanting to celebrate outstanding teaching in wind instrumental and band instrumental music. And after 20 years, in 2004, they wanted to retire. They were getting up in years, and so they were looking for a new home. And Columbus was selected, and I became the director. Immediately, within a year, we organized the High School Band Directors National Association as a professional nonprofit organization to support high school bands. And the reason from that, people would say, well, how did it come about? Well, there's many collegiate band organizations. There's the College Band Directors National Association, the CBDNA, there's the American Bandmasters, the ABA, the National Band Association, the NBA, but there was nothing specifically for secondary education. So we wanted to be a support process, if you will, for secondary education for bands. And since we have started this program, we have been able to help bands. For example, when Katrina hit, there was a band in New Orleans that totally lost instruments and uniforms. We were able to find uniforms for them, donated through another band that had just bought new uniforms, and they said, "We'll donate our uniforms to you." We've been able to buy instruments for students, new instruments. We've been able to give scholarships to students that want to major in music education. We've promoted clinics. We have promoted workshops. We provide continuing education programs for band directors. I noticed we were both in Muskogee County, and I think we were both teaching at the time, and they wanted us to do a continuing education and they said the math people will go here, the English people will go there, and when the band directors are left, all the music people. And I said, where do we go? Well, we want you to go and walk around the track out at Connect Stadium, and that will be your well-being. That's your health, so you can stay in health, and that's your continued. And I said, this is crazy. You have nothing for the music educators. And we said, well, we don't know what to do for you guys. And I said, well, it's about time that we start putting together a team of people that can write courses specifically for band directors of things that they need that may not be taught in the classroom, or things that you will need brushing up on. And we tied it in with the CEUs and the Cardinal Arts of Education compliance for those through Washington. And we provide things of the history of bands, the pioneers of band education. We're looking at now doing a video of band instrument repair. So these are things that are usually not offered. We have 2 people that are instrument repair technicians, and we're working with them, negotiating with them right now to do videos, a 5-minute video on how to repair a pad for a flute or a clarinet. You'd be amazed at how many band directors don't know how to do that. They didn't teach it in band techniques.
Really?
are how to prepare your band for district festival, or we can provide a band director to come in and work your group through a master work clinic. And we have people all over the country that retired band directors that are willing to give their time will come in and help your band.
That's great.
So we just tried to promote band through the administrators. We've had administrators contact us and say, what can we do? One of the big things that we did when the COVID hit, the late Robert W. Smith chaired the COVID committee. I think you served on that committee as well, of a team of experts, of school superintendents, doctors, band directors, college professors. What can we do to keep band alive in secondary education during the COVID clinic, that we could do virtual teaching experiences that students can still participate in band? And we call it a blueprint model in the COVID-19 crisis. And I had people from St. Louis, the music supervisor from St. Louis, call us and say, you saved our program. We are delivering this program all along in Missouri and Kansas, all up in this area to school superintendents that did not know what to do. We don't know what to add in the curriculum. You've given us the idea that now we can implement this and we can keep those students and those parents and those administrators active in band education because of this model. And we were very proud of that we were able to contribute like that. That's what we're all about.
Who is your most recent honoree?
Robert W. Smith was the most recent honoree. We inducted him in May. I had the honor of driving to right outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and personally inducting him into the Hall of Fame 4 months, sadly, to the day that he passed.
Oh man, yeah, my bands have played a lot of his music over the years.
Robert was a classmate of mine at Troy. We were both trumpet players in Troy at the same time, and I even told a story when I inducted him in the Hall of Fame. I said, I'm glad that I know somebody famous. My daughter played at Northside High School, and she comes home one day and I said, what are you playing for festival? And she mentioned some things. I said, oh, you're playing a Robert W. Smith piece. She said, yeah. I said, well, I know him. She went, no, you don't. I said, well, yes, I do. And I had to convince her. And but she never believed me until we went to a Troy event. I think it was the Seuss Clinic a couple of months later. And he was there, and I introduced her to Robert. And she said, you do know him. And I said, I tried to tell you.
Oh, man. Yeah, both of
Robert
y'all.
he was a giant in the industry and will missed forever and ever. We're going to do a tribute to him in our March concert at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We've got some music that he arranged and do a video presentation, and he was on our board of trustees, and just contributed so much to band education, and just a giant. He would travel all over. He would travel to Hawaii and induct members for us. I was supposed to go to Hawaii. My wife was ill. I couldn't make it. He called me and said, hey, Oliver, I'll go for you. And I said, fantastic. So he took time out of his schedule to travel to Honolulu to make a presentation for us.
Well, what a sacrifice, huh?
What a sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, listen, where is the Hall of Fame located?
Hall of Fame is located on the downtown campus of Columbus State University in the Yancey Fine Arts Building on the ground floor. They provided us some square footage space, and we are growing out of it. So we're looking to expand and get into another facility, because as it stands right now, we have artifacts that have been donated by the Souza Family Foundation, the Bob Barr Family Foundation, and we have to put them in storage right now because we've outgrown the existing facility that Columbus State has so generously donated to us. So we're looking to raise money to have a new facility. We want to have it encompass all in one for the High School Band Directors Association, a museum for secondary band education, and the Hall of Fame exhibit itself. Encompass all three and have a research center. So that's what we're looking for now. But presently in the Yancey Center building at Columbus State University downtown on Broadway.
Well, that's great. Now, you also have an online presence with that group.
www.hsbdna.org, High School Band Directors National Association.org. And
Excellent.
just love
How
them.
how
Love
many
you to
in
visit us.
how many inductees are there
We have
altogether?
64 members.
Excellent.
64 members.
Excellent. And listen, let's talk about something else here for a second. I've noticed over the years that since about 1980, somewhere in that neighborhood, the networks no longer broadcast college band performances at halftime. I'm sure you've noticed the same thing. Um, I've come up with what I think may be a way for us to see if we can positively affect that, and at least get to the point where they show part of the broadcast, if not the whole thing, for both bands. Um, every network has a contact point, and you can say you like this, you don't like this, and my suggestion is to call these people, each network. Say that your school's game is on ABC, then ABC has a contact point where you can call and say nicely, I would like to see both bands shown on halftime for the entire performance, and then just let it go. Now, if enough people do that, it's possible, that those broadcast people could change their mind if they thought there was viewership in it. I think there are enough former band members and current band members that would love to see that.
I think so. I think I think it's been it's a problem. It's been continually gotten worse over with less coverage over the years, and I think that it's a combination of that. This we haven't brought it to the right people's attention that there are some viewers out there that would like to see this, and if we don't advise them or tell them that we want to see it, they're not going to know. They're going to think it's more important to show the replay of what we already saw in the first half.
Yeah.
We always see that. Dr. Long used to say, I don't need to see a replay. I saw it already. Don't insult my intelligence by telling me what I've already seen. Show me something new. And if we don't bring it to their attention, nothing's going to be done about it. I think we need to approach it from a standpoint, if enough people bring it in a pleasant way, in the right way to the right people, the right message, I think something can be done about it. And look at it from a standpoint that those band members are also athletes in their own right. They work just as hard in their own genre as those football players do. They put in as much hours, they put in as much work, but they don't get any recognition for it, hardly at all. And it's sad. And if we don't bring it to the right people's attention, nothing's going to ever be done about it. We've got to find who those points of contact are and send them the right message, and then maybe some change can come about.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. I also think that, band is sort of a lifetime sport. You
Yeah.
you don't give up flute or clarinet or saxophone just because you graduate. And you know, and well, I'm an example of that. I play saxophone almost every day. Now I don't do it for anybody but me, but it is a daily routine for me, and it brings me not just memories, but great enjoyment, personal enjoyment. Being able to play the music that I want to play, even by myself or with a backing track. And I don't think the same is true for a lot of sports. Football is not what you would call a lifetime participation sport.
No.
And now I still enjoy football and watch it regularly, but at my age, I haven't played for a year or two. So,
Well, you're talking about that it's a continuing process. The Bob Barr Band is exactly an example of it. We have members that are age 15 to 93
that's
in that
great.
group. And the 93-year-old was our former boss. as the music supervisor for Muskogee County. He's still active and comes to every rehearsal. We feature him as a soloist, and he loves it. He has more energy than I do at
That's
93
great.
years old. But we have a lot of people in their 80s, and they still love it. I was turned on to band at one time. I love it. It's a passion. It's forever in my heart. We want to play, and this is a venue for them to be able to do that.
Now,
So band continues on.
how
It
can
doesn't
people
stop when-
contact you if they want to play in the community band?
I can give you my telephone number, my cell phone number, or they can reach me by email, or they can just attend Monday nights at 7:00 at Jordan High School Band Room. And I tell people, just come in and look for the crazy man waving his arms. We'll get you started. My telephone number is 706-570-9007. We have a Facebook page. You can contact me there. Just look up the Bob Barr Community Band on Facebook. You can contact us through the High School Band Directors Association on Facebook, or you can email me at boone9007@bellsouth.net. We have plenty of avenues that you can get in touch with us, and we'll get you started. Don't worry about if you haven't played in a long time. I hadn't played in a long time either, but just join in. As they used to say, with the Andy Griffith is a favorite show of mine with the Dillard family, and Andy would ask one of the guys, said, "What key are we in?" He said, "It don't matter. Just jump in and hang on." That's my motto. Just jump in and hang on.
That's great. Listen, Oliver, I appreciate your time today, and
Well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
I'm going to put this out and see what we can do. I'll give you some information about where you and the community band and the Hall of Fame people can access the video if anybody wants to watch it. It'll be on my Substack account, and of course subscriptions are free. So
we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Listen, I hope you have a great day, and stay warm.
Stay warm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
See you later.
Bye-bye.